We've got Super Frankie Lampard. He knows exactly what we need. Tomori at the back, Tammy in attack. Chelsea's going to win the Champions League. What's up, guys? It is Brandon from the Two Piece Random, and welcome back to another Premier League prediction, Week 21. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm feeling fucking good. I'm feeling absolutely tremendous right now. Because let me tell you this, right? Let me tell you this, right? For those that don't know, right? Chelsea versus Arsenal yesterday, the day I'm recording this video. And let's just say a little bit of magic and finesse happened in that game. Let's just say that, alright? And a few people had to pipe down, alright? We'll get into that right away. So we're going to go straight into these Premier League predictions, alright? So This is actually in 2020, alright? This is the last Premier League prediction. And just for that, make sure you click the like button, right? And smash that subscribe button as well. Because our aim for 2020 is to reach 2,000 subscribers. And I would appreciate it if you guys could help us get to that goal. That would really mean a lot to us. That would really mean a lot. So click that subscribe button and click that like button as well. I very much appreciate it. Anyway, going into the first game. All right, Brighton versus Chelsea. Now, we are against Brighton away at 12:30. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. All right. What Chelsea needs to focus on the away games, we're good at. We get the results out against like away teams, right? But it's just our home form. It's just terrible, and that's what annoys me. How can you play so well against Tottenham, right? But play absolutely brilliant, right? Outclass Jose Mourinho, but then go at Stamford Bridge and lose 2-0 against the Saints, like Southampton. Like, it's ridiculous, and that's what kind of annoys me. And we really need to focus on our home form. There's no point winning away games, but then losing home games, because it's just ridiculous. I want us to win both. If we want to compete for the freaking title, or even compete against Man City or Liverpool, we have to compete. We have to win home games as well. We have to win home games. It's just as simple as that. Now, first of all, I'm going to talk about Brighton before I talk about Chelsea. So for Brighton, their last game they beat Bournemouth 2-0. And you know what? Fair play to them. They absolutely deserved it. I feel as though Bournemouth didn't really do that much. Brighton have been on a decent run of form as late, if I'm honest with you. Their form has actually been quite decent. Shout out to, what was it? I think the key players are Mupay, Connolly, and I think Aaron Moy. I think Aaron Moy is the real centre midfielder in that Brighton squad, and he pulls all the strings. Like even in the game against Arsenal, he was absolutely brilliant. So shout out to Moy. Yeah, Brighton have been doing well so far. Yeah, essentially they've just been playing well. So it's going to be a very, very tough game for us. I think for Chelsea, first of all, right, I'm going to talk about Chelsea's performance, and once I go into Arsenal, I'm going to talk about Arsenal's performance. So Chelsea's performance, first half, absolutely awful. 30 minutes was absolutely horrendous, all right? But then as soon as... This is why Frank Lampard's world class, right? Let me tell you this, right? Because most managers don't have the balls to take off their left back or left wing back, right? And then swap that left wing back for a centre midfielder, all right? They'd rather just keep it as it is because they don't want to mess things up because it could go worse. But he had the balls to do that early on, 30 minutes in. He could see that it wasn't working, right? And then, as soon as he made the change, we dominated the last 10 minutes of that first half all the way into the second half. And that's how we got our goals and that's how we won. And it's just as simple as that. I think we dominated. We absolutely dominated. First 30 minutes, Arsenal had us on ropes. Then after that, we absolutely dominated. People can say, oh, the ref didn't do this, ref didn't do that. Listen, I don't give a crap. Overall, our performance, our control in the midfield and our play was better. I knew the goal was coming. The goal was absolutely coming. And it's just as simple as that. We play the better football and we obviously deserved the 3 points. It's just as simple as that. So, between Brighton and Chelsea, I'm going to say Brighton 1, Chelsea 2. I feel as though we can get the win. I feel as though we actually should get a win because our away performances have just been good. We've been banging in goals in away games and we've been winning them convincingly. So, yeah, I'm going to say Chelsea. I'm going to say Brighton 1, Chelsea 2. All right, moving on to the next game. Burnley versus Aston Villa. Now, Burnley lost 2-0 at Turf Moor against Manchester United. It's just one of those things. Manchester United played well, but Burnley, they didn't really look as though they were up for it as much against Manchester United. I feel as though with Burnley, their defence was just awful in that game. They couldn't really handle the likes of Rashford, Martial, and it just tore them apart, really. I'm saying that it's bad for Burnley because this Manchester United side it's not crap, but it's not amazing. It's average. I feel as though Burnley and Sean Dyche's team could have done more. It just wasn't Burnley's day, if I'm honest with you. Villa were even worse. Freaking heck, you've let a blue supporter that is Troy Deeney scored twice against you, and Watford were 10 men down. Villa, they really need to get rid of their striker. Their striker's absolutely shocking. Wesley, he's just not good enough. His hold up play is horrendous as well. Codger's not good enough either. I think they need to switch their tactics a lot because I think Villa are just getting sussed out and it's clearly not working. Some Villa supporters want Dean Smith out. I don't know if people agree with that or not. Leave it in the comments down below. I feel as though Villa do need to buy a new striker that can link up play well. There were rumours about them maybe signing Benteke back from Crystal Palace again, which would be a shout if I'm honest with you. To be fair, I would actually do that. To be fair, because he'd scored a lot of goals for Aston Villa. So for this one's also at 12:30 as well. It's going to be a tough one. So I'm going to say Burnley 2, Aston Villa 2. I think it's going to be a very, very tough game. Both teams need the points. Villa needing it more because they're actually in the relegation zone and they need a win. They need those 3 points. All right, moving on to the next game, which is the Geordie Boys versus Leicester City. Now, unfortunately for the Geordie Boys and Steve Bruce's team, they lost 2-1 against Everton at St James's Park at their home ground. Everton put on the strings, of course, with, I think, new manager Carlo Ancelotti, which I still don't know how they got. I think Newcastle, realistically, I was kind of expecting them to win that game. I know Everton are quite a tough team, because obviously we versed them and we lost against them. I feel as though with Newcastle, they probably could have done better. Everton, with Newcastle, I think they rely on John Shelvey a lot. I think he's been the one that's been just killing it for Newcastle so far. Personally, I thought Newcastle would be in the relegation zone, but with the way Steve Bruce is actually pulling that team all together and the way they're playing and the chemistry that they have, they're actually doing well so far. So fair play to him. I feel as though for Leicester City, ever since that draw against Norwich, the loss against City, they've been a little bit so far. But in their last game, they did beat West Ham 2-1, and it was unfortunate for West Ham. I'm going to tell you later, and I think you guys know from the last video that the video that Haroon recorded, and if you haven't seen that, links will be in the description. I feel as though for Leicester City, it should be an easy win for them. Jamie Vardy, top goal scorer in the league, he's just been killing it so far. I think it should be an easy win for Leicester if they still want to put some pressure on Liverpool. I'm not going to say, keep the pressure on Liverpool, because let's be honest, Liverpool are bloody flying. Let's just be freaking honest. They're going to win the league. Let's just be honest. Liverpool are going to fucking win it. I think Leicester City should win that game, if I'm honest with you. So for this one, I'm going to say Newcastle 1, Leicester City 3. All right, next game. Watford versus Wolves. Now, like I said, fair play to Watford, going 10 men down and still putting up a performance against Aston Villa. Yeah, fair enough, it's only Aston Villa. But the fact that they actually won their first home game against Aston Villa says a lot. And the man that people cuss, Troy Bumberclot Deeney, alright, Troy Deeney showed up as the captain, scoring 2 goals, and fair play to him, alright, fair play to Troy Deeney. He was remarkable in that game. I think Sarr scored as well. Watford are really putting it together. I think with their new manager, I think they'll be out of the relegation zone. As for Wolves, unlucky for Wolves against Liverpool. But I'm not gonna say they're terrible because of that because they lost against Liverpool, right? They had 2 teams, right? They had 2 world-class teams that they had to verse. They had to verse City and Liverpool, and they only had a day to prepare for it. Fair play for the Man City game, all right? I think this was a review that I actually didn't do, but fair play to Wolves, who beat Manchester City. Fair enough, Man City were 10 men down, but still, with the quality Man City had, they should have won that game. Benjamin Mendy, don't know what the frick he was doing. Obviously, got bodied by Adama Traore, that absolute beast of Adama Traore, right? Pretty much bodies Mendy, squares it into Raul Jimenez, now makes that the defender, and Raul Jimenez just slots it in with his weak foot. And yeah, and the goal from, was it Doherty or something like that? World class as well. I think for Wolves, they were very, very unlucky against Liverpool. I think their goals should have counted, I think VAR checked it and they called it off, maybe for offside or something like that. I couldn't really see where. There's rumours about VAR ruining the game of football. Leave your thoughts. Leave your a comment down below if you think VAR is ruining football, or you think should we keep VAR? Is it helping football? Should we get rid of it, or is it just a complete misconception of VAR, or is there just some points of VAR that are right? Leave your comments down below. I want to know what you guys think. But anyway, for this one, I'm going to say Watford 2, Wolves 3. I feel as though with the power, strength, and finishing of Adama Traore, it's just going to be too much for Watford, and Watford won't be able to handle him. I feel as though Watford are playing well, but they just won't be able to handle Adama Traore, if I'm honest with you, with the likes of Raul Jimenez, Diogo Jota as well. Wolves, if Watford really want to get a result of that, they got to use Troy Deeney and Sarr, the pace of Sarr and Deulofeu a lot, if I'm honest with you. So for this one, I'm still going to say Watford 2, Wolves 3. That game starts at 3. Another game at 3 o'clock, Southampton versus Tottenham Hotspur, as I like to call them, Shite Hart Lane. Yeah, peak times for Spurs, actually, because what is it? They drew 2-2 with Norwich, which I was surprised about. At Carrera, they actually drew 2-2 with Norwich. And I think that just says a lot. I think that's just peak, man. They're drawing 2-2 against Norwich. I think they're in absolute deep bundles of crap. Yeah, you shouldn't be drawing against Norwich. I think that's actually poor from Spurs. I don't know what's happened to Jose Mourinho. If he wants to get top 4, man, he's got to win those type of games. Yeah, I don't know how they're drawing against Norwich 2-2. I feel as though, what was it? Eriksen's just not good. I don't think Eriksen's good enough. I think there's just some players that Tottenham needs to get rid of. Eric Dyer, he's not good enough. Spurs needs to get rid of him. There are some players at the club that just aren't pulling their weight. And yeah, I think they just need to reinvest and just buy some new players in the January transfer. They got to sign some key players. If I'm honest with you, I think a big loss for them is just Hugo Lloris. The fact that he's injured, I think it's just a massive loss for Tottenham. I think as soon as he comes back, or if they'll still keep him, Tottenham will be back to how they were before. But it depends on it. For Southampton, they drew 1-1 against Crystal Palace, which, to be honest with you, I expected them to win because of the kind of form that they are. And I mean, they beat They beat us 2-0, which I'm so annoyed about. They beat, what team did they beat? Was it Tottenham or no? They beat Aston Villa at their home ground. I think they're on a run of form. He has to start Danny Ings, if I'm honest with you. I think if he starts Danny Ings, he'll score more goals. And yeah, to be honest with you, I expected Southampton to win that. I didn't expect them to draw against Crystal Palace, if I'm honest with you. So this one, I think it's going to be a cagey game. So for this one, I'm going to say Southampton 2, Tottenham 2. I feel as though Tottenham do struggle away from home, as they did against Norwich. And I think they'll struggle the same way they did against Southampton. I think they'll struggle the same way they did against Norwich, and I don't think they'll get the win. So, yeah, Southampton 2, Tottenham 2. West Ham versus Bournemouth. Now, speaking on to West Ham, for those that do not know, Manuel Pellegrini has been sacked. He's been sacked. And he's no longer the West Ham manager. And I don't know how West Ham are going to set up. I think there's going to be a lot of confusion around the club. There's going to be a lot of... within the team, I don't think people will know their role as much. And it's going to be very, very hard. I think the caretaker will have to come in. I don't know who the interim manager is going to be. Leave your comments down below if you know who the interim manager of West Ham is going to be. I'd actually like to know. Yeah, like I said, they lost 2-1 against Leicester City. Fair enough. I understand they were tired of it, but to sack him after Leicester City are second in the table. So I think it was quite peak to actually. I think it was quite sad to actually sack him after that game. Their play was really, really slow. Nothing was really happening. I think West Ham fans have just been fed up. I think their performances haven't been good enough. Come on, your team's shocking if you're losing against Arsenal, and Arsenal's form were horrendous. Their form were horrendous. Well, their form's not horrendous now. It's average, but back then, before they hired Mikel Arteta as manager, if you're losing against Arsenal, that's just peak. It's just as simple as that. That just means that your team's just shocking. Moving on to Bournemouth. Bournemouth lost 2-0 against Brighton. To be honest, I wasn't expecting them to actually win that game. I don't think they did enough. Yeah, I think they're in a tough patch as well. They're struggling to get points. I don't know if Josh King's still going to be there. They really have to use Fraser a lot. If I'm honest with you, I think Bournemouth will struggle to get a lot of points this season, as they already have. I think a few more games, they've got at least like aim for some draws and get some wins or something like that. I think they have to sign at least 2 or 3 players in the transfer window just to keep them in hopes of like the Premier League or something like that. That's literally what they have to do. They have to sign 2 or 3 players. I think 2 players in the midfield and 1 clinical striker, if I'm honest with you, because they're struggling right now. They're absolutely struggling. And do you know what? For this one, both teams are bad, but I'm going to say West Ham 0, Bournemouth 1. I can just see Bournemouth winning that game because they do have a manager. Not only is it because they have a manager, it's because with West Ham, they don't have any manager at all. I mean, I don't even know who the interim manager will be for West Ham. It's just as simple as that. And yeah, I just feel as though Bournemouth will get the win. So yeah. Next game, Manchester City versus Everton. Now, with this one, Man City beating Sheffield United 2-0. Shocking against Wolves, if I'm honest with you. You should have won that game. But beating Sheffield United 2-0, I think it was a decent performance from them. I think Sheffield United should have had at least 2 goals, if I'm honest with you. Unfortunately, one got ruled out because of VAR. I think, one was offside. For Manchester City, it's just simple Manchester City, and I kind of knew they were going to win that game. It was very, very unlucky for Sheffield United. I think they deserved a goal. Like I said, talking about Everton, they won their game against Newcastle away. They could nick a point against Man City, who knows? But I just don't really see that happening. I still expect a dominant performance from Manchester City. I don't know what's happened with Manchester City. It's just their defence hasn't been as good as it was last season, and you could just tell. And it's just really affected the way that the whole team's played. So yeah, their defence was just horrendous, and that's the reason why I don't see Man City catching up against Liverpool, if I'm honest with you. I think this is Pep Guardiola's season where he's just happy if he gets top 4. I don't think he can't really put any more pressure against Manchester. Against Liverpool, if I'm honest with you. So yeah. So for this one, I'm going to say Manchester City 2, Everton 0. I don't see Everton drawing with Man City, and I don't see Man City losing that. I think Man City just have too much quality for Everton, if I'm honest with you. It's just as simple as that. All right. Moving on to the next game, Norwich versus Crystal Palace. Like I said again, Norwich they were absolutely happy that they got a point against Tottenham. I think it was a very, very hard game. Fair play to them. Maybe they could have nicked the win. Who knows? As for Crystal Palace, drawing against Southampton, fair play to them. I actually expect them to bloody get a draw, if I'm honest with you. Like that team absolutely bollocks. Except for Zaha, obviously, I freaking take Zaha. I don't really see Crystal Palace doing that much, really. I think Norwich have more of a threat with the likes of Timu Pukki and Cantwell, if I'm honest with you. I think those are their 2 main players at Norwich. I think Crystal Palace's 2 main players, main players, just Zaha, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, and Crystal Palace are playing away. So for this one, I'm going to say Norwich 2, Crystal Palace 1, if I'm honest with you. I don't really see Crystal Palace getting a win. All right. Actually, I'm going to leave this game to last. Liverpool versus Sheffield United, ladies and gentlemen. Liverpool versus Sheffield United. Obviously now, we saw the class of Sadio Mane, but if I'm honest with you, there was a VAR check because they were trying to say that the build-up to, Sadio Mane's goal was a handball from Adam Lallana when it wasn't actually the shoulder when VAR checked it, and they ruled that goal. I think with Wolves one, I think Liverpool got lucky with that, with a VAR check for that. It didn't count as a goal for Wolves, and I think if you watch the Sky Sports a video of Connor Cody, he was absolutely annoyed with VAR and just saying how it's ruined the game, and he was trying to tell how the players feel about that and everything like that. So, leave your thoughts about that. Like I said, leave your thoughts about VAR, leave a comment about that. But obviously Liverpool playing very, very good football. I think it was very, very unlucky for Wolves. I think they could have nicked something from that. But as with Liverpool, another performance where they just win. They've won literally nearly every game in the season. They've only drawn once, haven't lost one game. Liverpool have been on form this season. Their defence has been absolutely solid. They keep another clean sheet, and I think that's going to happen against Sheffield United. But we remember what happened last time at Bramall Lane when Sheffield United were close to actually being Liverpool, but then Jorginho Wijnaldum scored the goal for Liverpool to get them the win. I feel as though for this one, Liverpool will still get the win. They're just good at grinding games out. They play poor in some games, but they just grind the wins out, and that's just how Liverpool have been this season, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, it's just as simple as that. I just see Liverpool grinding out this win. Mo Salah's been brilliant. Sadio Mane has been brilliant as well. For Sheffield United, Muse and McBurney. I think Sheffield United have to use those players to the utmost if they want to get a result against Liverpool. I don't see it, but they just have to do it. I feel as though with Liverpool, they've made their new signing as well. Their rotation and everything, how all the games have come into play. They're having that Club World Cup just coming in to these Premier League games, just knowing like there's so many Premier League games and they've barely had any rest. The sort of rotation that's been happening, swapping players, rotating players, and for them to still get the win, it just shows you that they're going to win it. They're going to win the league this season, and fair play to them, fair play. Even though VAR has been helping them and kissing their arse, but like I said, Liverpool have been playing decent football. They've been getting the wins, and if you want to win the Premier League, you're not going to play well all the time. You just have to somehow get the win, like we did against Arsenal. It's just as simple as that. You got to somehow get the win, and fair play to Liverpool. So for this one, I'm going to say Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 0, and this game's at 8 o'clock at Anfield. So yeah, make sure you watch that. Now, the big game, ladies and gentlemen, or as I like to call it, Patrick Vieira versus Roy Keane, or Roy Keane versus Patrick Vieira, or whatever you want to call it. It's a big rivalry, ladies and gentlemen. Your Arsene Wenger versus Sir Alex Ferguson, but in this case, it's Mikel Arteta versus Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It is Arsenal versus Manchester United, ladies and gentlemen. Arsenal versus Manchester United. Yeah, it's as simple as that. First of all, I'm going to talk about Manchester United first. Beating Burnley 2-0. Very, very good performance from them. With the likes of Rashford, Anthony Martial, who's been doing bits as well. Mason Greenwood, who's been a real talent for Manchester United, has been banging goals for them. An absolute key player. I think he's either 17 or 18, just young, and he's been banging in goals for Manchester United. Fair play to them. I want to see more of Paul Pogba as well. He showed his quality against Watford, but unfortunately, they were unable to actually get the win. So it's just as simple as that. But Paul Pogba did show his quality and he did show his passing ability. I feel as though with Marcus Rashford, he's getting better. I think the front three line for England could be Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford and Sterling. Just pure pace, just absolutely ripping countries apart. I think that would be such a good lineup for England. It'll be absolutely tremendous. Like, I'd just love to see that. As with Arsenal's last game against Chelsea, they played well for 30 minutes, right? Because they had more midfielders than Chelsea overlapping us. I did like the way Reece Nelson actually played, where he was just sending Emerson left and right, turning him inside out. Aubameyang, as usual, was brilliant in that game. He somehow gets a goal. Guendouzi and Torreira, they protected the defence really well, if I'm honest with you. Watching that game, in the first 30 minutes, David Luiz and Chambers, their centre-back partnership was good. So you can see some signs. You can see signs of what Mikel Arteta has done. They've done a lot of work. Arsenal have done a lot of work, and you can tell from Mikel Arteta. And I think things will get better. They will get better. I think it was just very unlucky for them that they didn't get the win or the point. But overall, we dominated them. Reason why I'm rubbing it in Haroon's face is because, number one, before the game started, he said that his team was going to beat me. Number two, he said that once you've beaten Chelsea, then the team will somehow get into the top four, which I think is bullcrap. And he said that he'll win the Europa League, which I think is BS. And number 3, when they actually did score, he sent me smiley faces. Just as simple as that. At, was it 40 minutes past 2, 40 minutes into the game, I think as soon as they scored, he sent me smiley faces. And then as soon as the game ended, it finished 2-1, and he was silent and quiet as a mouse. And if you guys didn't see it, you can see the Arsenal vs Chelsea review. And you can, as usual, he's going to say, oh, it was the referee, it was the referee. Referee did have some part in it, of course. I think we should have got a penalty because Guendouzi dragged down Tammy Abraham, but obviously he's not going to mention that. He's going to mention where Jorginho should have been sent off, and I don't believe that. And if you guys feel as though Jorginho should have been sent off, then there is a poll on our community centre, so you guys can go and vote there, and you can also leave a comment. You can leave your thoughts on that as well. But just, if I'm honest with you, right, they were dominant for 30 minutes, then after that, we took over, and it's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. And, yeah. And, of course, he's going to change the thumbnail to Aubameyang scoring the goal instead of Tammy Abraham, but it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. And I remember when he said that Tammy Abraham can score against top 6 teams. What did he just do? Scored against the top 6 team. Obviously, Arsenal aren't a top 6 team now. They're barely even a top 10 team, but it is what it is, and we did that at the Emirates, so that's what I loved. So it was very, very unlucky for Arsenal. Maybe they'll win their next game. Actually, will they win it? Probably not, but it is what it is. Against Manchester United, Manchester United have done some great things. Drawing against Liverpool, which is freaking amazing, and beating Manchester City 2-1. Beating Manchester City 2-1, maybe should have been 3-1, but yeah, they do have the ability to turn up against big teams. So Arsenal do have to watch out for the likes of Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Paul Pogba. He's got to watch out for these players because those players will damage Arsenal. I think he has to play. I think there's a formation also have to play. I think, not formation, the players that Arsenal have to play. I think Arteta has to play Aubameyang, Ozil, Lacazette, and Nicolas Pepe. I think if you play those 4 players, I think they'll honestly get the win. If they're able to link up and have the chemistry between the 4, I think they'll be able to play world-class football, and it's just as simple as that. But if I'm being genuinely honest with you, I do not see Arsenal getting the win against Manchester United. I feel as though Manchester United will just have more quality than them. So for this one, I'm going to say Arsenal 1, Manchester United 2. And it's just as simple as that. If you guys enjoyed this Premier League prediction, make sure you click the like button. Smash! I'm going to say it again. Smash that subscribe button as well, because this is the last video that we're going to upload until 2020. This is the last video of 2019. And for us to go into the new year, go into 2020, I want you guys to smash that subscribe button. That would do me proud because we want to reach 2,000 subscribers. That would be absolutely sensational for this channel to reach 2,000 subscribers. I would love that. Absolutely love that. So make sure you click that subscribe button as well. Share it with your friends, family, cousins, aunties, brothers, uncles. Share it with everyone, all right? And I'll see you guys in a bit for the next Premier League prediction. Peace!